All right. True Sports episode 23. Let's see here. Try this again. True Sports episode 23 is on the air. I'm Taylor Phillips along with Louis Tenor. The Houston Astros won the World Series fair and square.
Yeah.
As much as you hate it, it's true.
It's true, unfortunately.
Yep. But yeah, anyway, it was a competitive World Series.
That I'll give you. Yes.
Yeah, Astros and Phillies. Yeah, Justin Verlander pitched a better Game 5 than he did in Game 1.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and Dusty Baker finally won his first World Series championship as a manager. He won one as a player, like in the early '80s.
81 beat my Yankees. Yeah, dirty, no good.
I wouldn't call that dirty. It was fair. I'm pretty
Well,
sure
you
that was fair and square too.
well you broke the heart of an 11-year-old boy. Me.
Right. So yeah, Monday Night Football is going on, third quarter. Ravens and Saints. Lamar Jackson right now.
Mm.
Rick failed to finish that last drive, but the Ravens got 3 instead of coming up empty. They lead the Saints 17-3. But my Lions beat the Packers yesterday.
Yeah. An injury-filled day for the Packers as well. They had 9 players with injuries,
including Rashawn Gary, a former
Yeah.
Michigan Wolverine. But Aaron Rodgers was out of sync with his targeted receivers. And since the Lions fired defensive backs Aubrey Pleasant a week ago today after their loss to the Miami Dolphins, their defense has actually improved, the way I can tell. Kirby Joseph, safety, came up with 2 interceptions, 1 pass breakup, and 10 total tackles, 5 solo and 5 assisted before he went into concussion protocol. But Jeff Okudah didn't do too shabby. He left it. He blew a few. He blew a few. But it wasn't too shabby. But
No.
yeah, the Lions held the Packers to just 9 points. Should Aaron Rodgers retire? That's my question.
Yes.
Yeah, he's aging, and he's getting frustrated with his team already.
Especially after the past week.
Yeah, especially yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Jets also won, huh?
That was a tough game as well. I mean, they were trailing by double digits, and they still managed to come with a win. Buffalo blew it. I'm a happy camper, though.
Wow, yeah. Saints are moving the ball down the field into Ravens territory, just inside the 45. 7 minutes ago, third quarter and counting. Ravens 5-3, Saints are 3-5. So yeah, the NHL competition's heating up. The Red Wings are back in second place in the Atlantic Division, but just barely.
Hmm.
Yeah, watch out for them.
Could they break the slump this year?
They could, the way they're competing right now, especially with Ville Husso in net. They won 3 straight. They beat the Capitals 3-1. They shut out the Islanders 3-0. And then yesterday they beat the Rangers 3-2 in overtime.
I know. I saw that game.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's fair and square too. Dominic Kubalik
Yes.
from David Perron. Nice centering
Mm-hmm.
pass near the crease, beating Yaroslav Halak, who banged his goaltender stick on the post twice
Oof.
in frustration. Bet you saw that.
Yeah, I did. Boy, those hockey players they'll take their frustration on anything and anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
But yeah, the Red Wings are competing. Got to admit, only
Yes.
only only 4 points behind the top dog Boston Bruins with 20 points. The Red Wings have 16.
Hmm.
Tied with the Maple Leafs in points with 16, but the Red Wings have one less regulation loss than the Maple Leafs, 7-3-2 to 7-4-2 for Toronto. As I mentioned before we went on the air, the Pistons got their third win, 112 to 103. Isaiah Stewart, Kate Cunningham, and Jay Ivey all got a double-double. Kate Cunningham, 21 and 11. Jay Ivey, 15 and 11. Isaiah Stewart, 11 and 12. Sadiq Bey leading in scoring with 25 points. Pistons had a shabby first half, but they had a stronger second half, and they came back and won. And they led for most of the second half, and they held on for a victory. But LeBron James is out tonight with like forgot what the injury was, but he's out tonight. Red Wings head on the West Coast this weekend. Let me look at their schedule. They're home against Montreal tomorrow and the Rangers Thursday. Both games at home before they head out west to Los Angeles and play the Kings. Then they go to Anaheim a week from tomorrow, and then next week Thursday in San Jose, the Ducks and Sharks, and they head back near Michigan to Ohio a week from Saturday, 7 o'clock against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before they play at home against the Nashville Predators, the Arizona Coyotes, then the Toronto Maple Leafs competitive game there, and then the Buffalo Sabres. Last time those two teams met was a week ago today. Buffalo the Sabres thrashed the Red Wings 8-3, especially in that third period. That was just fucking ugly.
Well, sometimes if you gotta win ugly anyway.
Yeah, the outscoring was 4-1. That just an ugly loss for the Red Wings.
Yes.
Yeah, you got decimated in that third period if you're Detroit.
I know.
But yeah, that's that leads us to your true sports report. So go ahead.
All right. So we'll go to the score reports here. I think I'll start with the NHL tonight first. The Capitals are leading the Oilers 4-2. Third period just getting underway. Give a minute or two as they lead now 4-2. Moving down the line, it's a short night by the way in the NHL. Big ones will be tomorrow. The Bruins over the Blues 3-1, and the Islanders beat the Flames 4-3 in overtime. Oh boy, Islanders again. That's the one thing about. I mean, as most of you know, they just every time they win, it just sickens me. As most of you who would followed me with this through the years here with the show, that I've always hated the Islanders. I've always been a Ranger fan, and I tend to stay that way because the Islanders, have been they've gotten out to their own tricks, and especially since we should have won the 1980 series against the Islanders. Ugh. Boy, oh boy. And over to the only only 3 games tonight in the league. I think there'll be more tomorrow. So before I get into that, as there'll be no games in the NBA tomorrow, they're encouraging all the players, everybody to go out and vote tomorrow. So there'll be no NBA action tomorrow, which means everybody is playing tonight. Yeah, every team in the NBA is playing tonight right now. There are a few games in progress in my area right now. Right now the Knicks are leading the Minnesota Timberwolves. Listen to this: 71-46, with 2 minutes and change left to go in the second quarter. I like the sound of that. All right. Other scores are the Sixers leading the Suns 91-82 with 4:50 to go in the fourth. The Hawks are leading the Bucks 185 with 8:44 to go in the fourth. Just going into the fourth, the Heat are leading the Blazers 81-73. Oh, by the way, Booker has 28 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and Embiid 31 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebound assists for the Sixers. For the Hawks, the Greek Freak has 28 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Murray has 22 points, 11 assists, and 6 rebounds. Grant has 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. And Butler for the Heat has 10 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds. Moving right along. In the third, with 6:39 to go, the Bulls leading the Raptors. Trent has 14 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Vonek has 11 rebounds, 9 assists, and 9 points and 3 assists. At the half, the Celtics are leading the Grizzlies 65-54. Jason Tatum has 25 points, 2 assists, and a rebound. Ja Morant, 13 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds. As I just mentioned, the Knicks are up considerably over the Wolves, thank goodness. Second quarter, the Spurs leading the Nuggets 32-28. Porter Jr. has 8 points, 5 assists, and 8 points, 5 rebounds, and assist. Johnson has 12 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist. Just in the later stages of the first quarter, the Nets are leading the Mavericks 25-16. Nick Claxton, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. Luka, 7 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. Let's hope the Nets don't choke. And also just getting underway, the Warriors are leading the Kings 9-1. Big deal. Let's see what they can do for the rest of the game. Other games coming into play in a few minutes are the Jazz versus the Lakers versus the Jazz, and they need a lot of help. Cavaliers taking on the Clippers at 10:30. Finals are Wizards over the Hornets, 108-100. Goodwin has 17 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Washington has 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. Rockets over the Tragic, 134-127. You call them the Magic. Green, 34 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Wagner, 23 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. Pistons over the Thunder, 112-103. Alexander had 33 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Ivy, 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. And finally, the Pacers over the Pelicans, 129-122. Zion, 26 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. And Miles Turner has 37 points, 12 rebounds, and an assist. Pelicans seem to be doing something right finally. I never thought I'd see the day that happen.
That was a 7-point game.
Well, Zion isn't. Yeah, but I mean, Zion, hasn't really impressed me, so far. Sliced bread, and it's been anything but. So he hasn't really struck me as anything. As like the next big superstar in the NBA because right now he hasn't shown it. As the
Yeah, he used to be
as
good
the case
in
may be.
college
I know.
with
I mean,
Duke.
yeah, I know. But just because you're a superstar in college does not mean you're going to be the same thing as the pros.
Still got a ways to go.
As we
Just
all
need just need to develop even
we
more.
do. Yeah, but I know. Well, yeah, that's true. All right, so as we continue. By the way, also happy college basketball day. Oh boy, that's right. The college basketball season has started. There have been a slew of games that have been on already, including including I think some from your neck of the woods. I think Michigan had an easy time this evening.
Yep, they beat Indiana Purdue, Fort Wayne 75-56.
Purdue, Purdue, yeah, yeah. Forgive me, people. I mean, I thought the season wasn't starting till Thursday for some odd reason, but well, I was wrong. Yeah, because I really thought it was going to start on because they usually start during the weekend of Veterans Day weekend, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so we'll go to some news headlines. I have an interesting news headline here, though, to start off. Now that the baseball season is over, the awards are probably already to be handed out, and the question is, who is going to be AL MVP? Well, it's narrowed down to three. Thank you, Baseball Writers Association of America, for doing this. As it comes down to Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and there is one more. And there's one more. Oh yeah, Jordan Alvarez. To start with, of course, the saying that Judge had a great season. Well, yeah, that's pretty much a given. I mean, he set the new American League record with 60 time almost. 131 RBIs, 100 and 11 walks, and had an on base percentage of 425. And he just missed getting the Triple Crown as he just came up short. Just came up short with that. So that's how that worked. So he also posted best figures 133 runs and slugging percentage of 6.86. He finished second only to Alvarez of Minnesota in the AL batting title race, just missing a clean sweep. Yeah, I figured that. After becoming unanimous choice in the AL MVP a year ago, Ohtani followed up by hitting 273, 34 home runs, 95 RBIs, 90 runs, and 11 stolen bases. Meanwhile, he even got better on the mound by going 15-9 with a 2.33 ERA with 219 strikeouts while staying on the perimeter of the AL Cy Young conversation. This looks pretty interesting. Alvarez, well, okay. Let's see here. He is second in all three categories. He hammered 37 home runs, drove in 97 runs, and scored 95. If, as expected, Alvarez finished a distant third in the balloting and would take solace in Yurtharopa going over his head 3-run homer in the Astros World Series clincher on Saturday with an epic 450-foot blast off the Phillies' Jose Alvarado. Yeah, boy. Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Well, you know me. I was not for nothing, but I was going for the Phillies. So, and I think most of you will understand why, because as I do think the Astros did cheat. But of course, a lot of people will disagree with me on that, so I'll just leave that one alone. Other news of the day as well. All right. So on to some other news of the day. We had Kentucky versus Howard, Michigan over Fort Wayne, Duke over Jacksonville, Tennessee over Tennessee Tech, Indiana over Morehead State, Dayton over Linwood, Houston over Colorado. This is a big day in college basketball. And Gonzaga played Northern Florida. By the way, Gonzaga is looking to switch conferences. Oh boy, another one of those days where the college basketball landscape is going to be screwed up. Yuck. All right. So for you golf lover fans out there, Tiger Woods is going to return to the golf course on December 10th for the 7th edition of the match. The 15-time major champion will team with Roy McIlroy against Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas in a 12-hole competition in Florida. Proceeds from the match will go to benefit Hurricane Ian relief efforts on the Gulf Coast. Previous editions have raised more than $33 million for charities and provided over 27 million meals through Feeding America, according to a news release. This is the third appearance for Woods in the match. He teamed up with Peyton Manning to beat Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson by one stroke in May of 2020. Woods lost to Mickelson in the original first match back in November 2018. Spieth, Mack, and Thomas are all playing in their first match tournament, and this is Woods' first tournament since missing the cut at the British Open, the Open in July. I keep using saying British Open. You get the idea. Okay. Matthew Tkachuk was suspended 2 games by the NHL Board of Safety after poking LA Kings goaltender Jonathan Quick in the face with his stick in Saturday's game. Yowza. Under the terms of the current CBA and based on his annual average salary, Tkachuk will forfeit over $103,700, and that will go towards the Players Emergency Assistance Fund. The incident occurred in the final minute with the Panthers trailing by a goal. Defenseman Brandon Maltor took a shot that Quick had recovered. Tkachuk was standing near the crease and poked Quick with his mask with his stick. Mm-hmm. Yep, of course, boys will be boys. While we heard Matthew's argument that he was not intentionally aiming for Quick's face, he was intentionally using his stick to injure his opponent in the head, making contact with his face, Department of Safety said in the ruling. This was his third suspension of his career. Tkachuk was suspended twice for one game in the 2017-18 season for unsportsmanlike conduct as a member of the Calgary Flames, and last season for a high sticking on Jonathan Kleinberg of the Dallas Stars. Okay. Then I thought Ty Domi was a dirty player. The Bruins have cut ties with prospect Mitchell Miller. I'm sure you people have heard about this by now. After an outcry, the decision to sign the young prospect drew harsh criticism from the moment the Bruins announced it on Friday. Originally, it was a fourth-round draft pick by the Coyotes in 2020. Shortly after he was drafted, a report by the Arizona Republic detailed how Miller and another middle school classmate were convicted in juvenile court in 2016 of racial issues and bullying Isaiah Mayer Carruthers, who is black. In the report, his mother said that Miller started abusing him in the second grade and was using racial slurs. Ooh boy. Bruins president and former player Cam Neely, that's a familiar name, said in a statement last night that Miller was made after careful consideration of the facts of the facts that were yeah, that were aware of him. Neely said the team believed that Miller's abuse is an isolated incident. Yeah, right. And that Miller had taken meaningful action to reform and what was committed to the ongoing personal development. Neely never Neely said based on new information, the Bruins rescinded Miller's contract. And with good reason, I would think. Neely also said the Bruins would be reevaluating their initial vetting process. Yeah. Joey Logano won his second NASCAR title at the give the Penske team two titles in the same season in the winner-take-all finale at Phoenix yesterday. This was Logano's fourth win of the season. He opened the year with an exhibition win in Los Angeles at the next gen event. Then a month later, rookie teammate Austin Cindric won the Daytona 500. Will Power, that's his name, Will Power, had the Indy car trophy case in September, and Logano's dominating run yesterday marked the first time that Penske won both series in the same season. It was the third championship for the Penske team, who won with Brad Keselowski in 2012 and Logano's first title in 2018. And they both had a lot of willpower. Oh, sorry about that. I couldn't resist. New York City Marathon was held yesterday and went to a pair of Ethiopians on the men's and women's side. Evans Shabet won the men's division and to his Boston title this spring, and Sharon Loki won the women's division, both from Kenya, as they both made their New York debut. Shabet finished 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 41 seconds. That was 13 seconds ahead of last season's second place winner. The second place finish, Shura Kenta of Ethiopia, to sweep both races in 11 years. That's very rare. Andrew Bogaerts is going to the Yankees. Thank you, Jimmy Driscoll. I'll have more on that at a future date. That just came up on my Facebook page. Nets forward Kevin Durant, who appears to have was a long-time Washington Commanders fan, says he's hopeful to be a part of the ownership group if the opportunity ever presents itself. They are probably thinking, how is he a Commanders fan? Simple. Durant follows the Commanders. It's waiting to see what happens with owner Dan Snyder's potential sale of the team. The Commanders also this week announced that this week they have hired Bank of America to explore other potential transactions. In a perfect world, I'd love to be a part of it, Durant told ESPN, and would give a part of my money of the Commanders build. We will see. Hopefully, it'll be someone Jay-Z or CEO of Amazon, Jeff Bezos. For those of you who think, why is he a fan? He grew up in D.C. and was a fan, of course, of the Washington Redskins. So, yeah, that makes sense. And Durant said he was surprised that Snyder appears to be selling the team. Funny, I'm not surprised. Especially how much of a trash heap they've been. When you figure that out. Suns forward Cameron Johnson could miss extended time after injuring his knee last Friday. Head coach Monty Williams did not comment on the extent of the injury before the game against the Blazers. The Athletic, a very highly respectable publication, said Johnson had suffered a torn meniscus, but more testing will be needed. Johnson suffered the injury in the first quarter when he landed awkwardly while trying to plant his foot in the other direction. He limped and left the game after that. Johnson is in the final year of his deal after failing to sign a long-term deal in the offseason. Oh, good luck. After a after the Celtics record-tying 27 three-pointers, Celtics guard Marcus Smart called it a thing of beauty. Well, that depends on who you ask. If you're a Celtics fan, yes. If you're a Knicks fan, no. Smart said it felt amazing. Head coach Joe Mazzulla was preaching to us. He said, "Don't get tired. We are playing the right way." I think every coach preaches like that, but you do have to see it's nothing more than it's a thing of beauty. Draw your own conclusions on that, folks, please. Yuck. Anytime the Celtics get something like that, I just want to go throw up. Yeah, if you're having a good hot shooting night, yeah, of course, but not to be not when you're at the opponent's side, that's more of a nightmare. A thing of beauty. And the Knicks also lost one of the players, Micah Robinson, the center. He'll miss at least a week with a sprained right knee. The announcement made on Saturday. Robinson was injured in the second quarter in Friday's win over the Sixers and will be reevaluated in about 7 to 10 days from now. Robinson, who signed a 4-year, $60 million deal with the Knicks this summer, is averaging 6.5 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 2.3 blocks. Not bad. And we have history here, as Alexander Ovechkin has now surpassed Gordie Howe for the most goals with the same team, scoring his 787th with the win over the Capitals. The record-breaking goal was on home ice. However, it was a loss to the Coyotes. How about that? Lost. And for you soccer fans, LAFC won their first MLS Cup by beating the Philadelphia Union in a 3-0 shootout after ending 3-3 in overtime. Sub-goaltender John McCarthy ended up as the hero for LA, coming off the bench late in extra time, saving 2 penalty shots. The Union looked to have it wrapped up as Jack Elliott scored his second goal in extra time until Gareth Bale came off the bench and scored the game-tying goal in the 128th minute, the latest score ever in an MLS playoff game. Wow. That was some game. But Philly didn't have enough gas at the end of it, and LAFC won their first title in their history. Yeah. What can the New York Red Bulls do? They did go to a final 1 year. Jesus Morlo put LAFC up 2-1 with 7 minutes left in regulation, but the Union answered back in nearly a fraction of a second with their first goal by Elliott. The game went into a shootout with Philly trailing. Daniel Gansing pounced to the level of the Union. LA midfielder Eli Sanchez scored the game-winning goal on a penalty shot. This was the first time since 2003 that both top seeds entered the championship match. I'll be discussing that on my show Saturday. Yeah, congratulations. And Indiana Pacers guard Chris Durante will miss 4 to 6 weeks with a sprained right ankle. Durante was the all-rookie last season, suffered the injury in the victory over the Heat on Saturday. The Pacers were 4-5 at the time, thanks to 2 young guards, Tyrese Halliburton and Benedict Mathurin. 4-5. That's not exactly earth-shattering. Durante is averaging 8.9 points per game in 19 7-point minutes of action so far. But remember, guys, it's a long season, so keep that in mind as we go through it. Okay, well, I'll say this. Yes, I am not an Astros fan, but okay, it is deserving that of course, that the manager did get his first win as a manager, but I'm still, Philadelphia had their chance, especially after, coming back from a game one deficit 5-0. But after I think game three, they just lost it. Now, congratulations, Dusty Baker. You earned it fair and square, but still, yeah. So anyway, on to football news. Bills quarterback Josh Allen is being evaluated for a right elbow injury on his UCL and related nerves. So told ESPN. Allen suffered the injury on the last drive and loss by the Jets. The Jets defense lineman Bryce Huff got passed back up right tackles David Queensberg in for the injured tackle Spencer Brown and hit Allen's elbow and was taken to the locker room after that. Throwing arm, which resulted in a strip sack recovered by the Bills. But there's more to that. The quarterback threw a low pass, looked off the target wide receiver Stephon Diggs on the falling play that was seen holding his right elbow, trying to shake the arm out. On the final offensive play, Allen threw for a 69.3 yards in the air, intended for wide receiver Gabe Davis. After finishing the game with 52.9% for 205 yards and 200 receptions. He finished the game as the leader on the ground with 9 carries for 86 yards and 2 scores. That included a 36-yard touchdown. Yet lost 20-17. The Green Bay Packers have lost Rashawn Gray for the season with a torn ACL in his right knee. Head coach Matt LaFleur confirmed that the season is now over. But that's only part of the story. As I said, 9 players were treated for injuries in yesterday's surprising loss over your Lions. Wow. Now comes word that cornerback E.J. Stokes' injuries are considered serious enough that his season might be over as well. Gray was the most effective pass rusher for the Packers and perhaps the best defensive player this season, with 6 sacks and 31 pressures. This is a tremendous loss for us, not just from a production standpoint, but he is someone who competes at the highest level in every game. And that is a shame when you lose something like that. He is one of the grittiest players on the team and just has the effort that he brings in on a daily basis and will be missed. Gray was a first-round pick in 2019 and was in line for a contract extension. The Packers exercised his fifth-year option of his rookie deal. That was for $10.8 million. Now it is unclear if he will be ready to start next season. Receiver Romeo Dubos and running back Aaron Jones both suffered ankle injuries against the Lions. Would not rule the possibility that Jones could play against the Cowboys next week, while Dubos' injury was not a season injury, but could be sidelined for several weeks to come. Baseball Hall of Fame released their 8 contemporary era ballot with some of the most familiar yet controversial names the sport has ever had. Barry Bonds, Curt Schilling, even with the bloody sock, Roger Clemens, Albert Bell, Don Manley, Fred McGriff, Dale Murphy, and Rafael Palmeiro were all under consideration. However, Sammy Sosa is not. The 16-member committee, who are either Hall of Famers, executives, and or sports writers, will vote in the winter meetings on December 4th. A player must receive 12 votes to be selected into the Hall of Fame. Bonds, Clemens, Schilling, and Sosa have all appeared on the ballot for the 10th and final time in the last election cycle. A player must receive 75% to get elected, and no one got there this season. Bonds was the highest at 66%. Clemens, a close second at 65.2%. Schilling with 58.8%, but Bonds way back at 18.5%. So much for the all-time home run hitter. All 4 are eligible for the Contemporary Hall of Fame, which includes players who made the greatest contributions to the game since 1980, but failed to be elected by the American Association of Baseball Writers, who are the big cheeses in baseball. Frank Reich is out as head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. I'll have something on that in just a second here. After the Colts, after going with a season record of 3-5-1, they lost to the Patriots yesterday, and it was their third straight overall. And their offense has just been in the toilet for quite some time. This was the latest example of their offensive challenges that appeared to be getting worse, despite a change at quarterback from Matt Ryan to Sam Ellinger, and last week's firing of offensive coordinator Marcus Brady. Reich was 40-33-1 with a 1-2 record in 2 postseasons. The Colts have been unraveling since the end of last season, when the Colts lost their final 2 games, despite only needing 1 victory to clinch a playoff berth, and choked. The 2020 finale loss to the Jaguars was an unsightly performance to owner Jim Irizarry's irate and prompted him to recommit to fixing the problems that led to that poor finish. And as I mentioned, they have an intercoach. It'll be Jeff Saturday, who will assume interim coaching positions. Saturday, a 6-time Pro Bowler who spent 13 seasons with the Colts, is currently an analyst for ESPN. He was also head coach at Hebron Christian Academy for the last 3 seasons, so that's not bad. The Colts, there was a meeting that was set for 6 p.m. tonight to discuss the final arrangements. Though Saturday was hired as the interim coach outside the organization, this does not violate the Rooney Rule, which requires teams to interview minority candidates for head coaching positions. This does not apply to interim coaches during the season, said spokesman Brian McCarthy, who told ProFootballTalk.com. But it appears it applies to after the conclusion of the team's season. The club would have to fulfill the rule before hiring a full-time head coach. Reich was fired yesterday after going 3-5-1. Okay, for the stupidity of the week, okay, I got it right here. New York Giants safety Xavier McKinley will miss a few weeks after injuring his hand in an ATV accident in Cabo during their bye week. What an idiot. McKinley was back with the Giants today, according to a source. He detailed the injury in a Twitter post. The safety, who was injured on a guided scene tour, the Giants returned from their bye week and face Houston at home this week. McKinley is expected to miss several weeks after facing the Texans. Then they travel to Dallas to face the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I like the sound of that matchup. So I talk about your main course for Thanksgiving dinner. I like it. And the Jets overcame a double-digit deficit to get their biggest win in 7 years by beating the Bills in a very important divisional matchup yesterday. The Jets continue their improbable season with a dominating performance on defense with 5 sacks and 2 interceptions in a bounce-back game for quarterback Zach Wilson. 1 year after going 4-13, the Jets are now 16-2 and are now just a half a game behind the Bills. Wonders never cease. Everyone outside the locker room did not think we had a chance, but it has been that same kind of service all year, said Ryan Tower Conklin. Everyone thinks that we're just the same old Jets. Brother, let me tell you, this is not the same old Jets that you've known. I mean, we haven't seen anything like this since Mark Sanchez.
It's a new look Jets team.
I like it. But I can't say the same for the Raiders, as their collapsing continues as they gave up a 17-point lead to the Jaguars.
Are you kidding me?
I wish I was. While the defensive and Max Crosby had no idea if there was a silver lining in the loss, pass rusher Hunter Renfrow said the goal was not to walk around with a like it's a funeral and stay positive, or I could say dead man walking. Quarterback Derek Carr preferred to keep most of his thoughts to himself, while wide receiver Davante Adams spoke freely. There was no reason to lose the way we did. It was frustrating, Adams said, as locker after a lengthy discussion with Carr. If we played for a crappy team, it's one thing, but that's not what it was. What it was, though, the Raiders were losing their third game of the season to fall to 2-6 under new coach Josh McDaniels. This after being a playoff team last season at 10-7, after John Gruden left after week 6. Mm-hmm. The Raiders' three losses by ties the mark for such losses by any team that has only been done giving up more than 17 points has only been done twice. First by the Falcons in 2013 and the Chargers in 2020. The Raiders were shut out by the Saints 2 weeks ago and blew a 17-point lead, making it the eighth team that has occurred in the NFL, and the first time since the Browns did in 2009, and the Raiders did that in 1997, making them the only team to screw that up twice. Okay. Once is bad enough, but twice to lose by that margin, brother, you got a problem. While Tom Brady seems to have lost a step, he's still making history, as Brady became the first quarterback ever to reach 10,000 yards that's regular in postseason. Excuse me, I got a barf. Brady reached a 15-yard completion to Leonard Fournette that led to a 50-yard field goal by Ryan Scoop. Fans cheered at Raymond James Stadium and was recognized by a public-address announcer, although he did not look up at the score while he was staring down at his iPad. Brady wanted to score the game-winning touchdown drive with his second latest drive of his career, leading the Bucs to a victory. With that, Brady now surpasses Peyton Manning for most game-winning drives with 55. I thought some people couldn't drive 55. Oh boy. Yeah, okay. And if you were a bettor in the World Series through a bookmaker, okay, boy, we got a story for you. It was believed to be bookmakers lost a bundle and was believed to be the largest payout in sports betting history, about $75 million to a Texas furniture owner who this year put down $10 million in bets for the Astros to win. Jim McAvale, otherwise known as Mattress Mac, jumped out of his front row seats at Midway Park as the Astros clinched their World Series victory on Saturday night. It concluded a 6-month ride that began May 13th, that began in the parking lot at a Louisiana restaurant, where Mac placed a $3 million bet on the Astros 10-1 at Caesars Sportsbook app. The $3 million bet with Caesars was the largest through not only his 7-figure bet, but the Astros, he added on $7 million more in bets on the Astros over the summer at other sports books, but he does not get to keep it all. Oh, I'll tell you why in a second. That's right, he does not be able to keep all the money. No, he can afford to pay him back. The deal was offered refunds to any customer who spent at least $3,000 on furniture, doubled their money if the Astros won the World Series. He will use the $75 million to pay back the happy customers that participated in the promotion. You're still gonna go home with a lot of money, buddy. Yeah. He's become a popular character in recent years too, Mattress Mac. I've heard of him before. And he doesn't just do it with baseball, he does it with all the sports, but baseball with the World Series, that's his prime promotion. This guy can make a fortune. Yeah. But like I said, congratulations, Dusty Baker, on winning your first World Series title as a manager, as he also won for the Dodgers back in 1981. And I remember that all too well, even though I was only 11 at the time. Still, I was disgusted. Yeah. Not too happy about that at all.
That was 5 years ago. The cheating
Yeah,
was 5 years ago.
well, I know,
That was
but
then.
hey,
This is now.
yeah, even though some people, I wonder if though if people are gonna remember like in future generations about this because there's some generations still remember with the Bosox scandal back 100 years ago, and that's what started this whole thing. If people recall that, and right now, oh boy, Baltimore's crushing the Saints 27-6 with 4:35 to go and change. The Saints are not looking good right now. Yeah. I don't know, but I think I was expecting something better this year for the Saints. I don't know what happened, but still. Okay. And with 4:27 to go, it's 1st and 10. Okay, so continuing on. And we also had history in that as Wednesday night, the Astros got the first no hitter in World Series history in 66 years. This was the first combined no hitter in World Series history, and only the third postseason game that had a no hitter at all. But the thing I think that was stunning that it was done in the Phillies ballpark and not on their own, and that I think made it more, well, shall I say, more damaging. I mean, your opponents got you on your own home ballpark. All right, so UNC is being over UNCW 49-37. Wow. Texas over UTEP right now 52-44. Texas Tech over Northwestern State 66-42. Baylor had an easy time over Mississippi Valley 117-53. Wow. Kentucky over Howard 95-53. Duke over Jacksonville 71-44. Yeah, all I can say is welcome back college basketball. Yeah. It is nice to see college basketball back in the mix. You don't know how long an off season is for college basketball when you really think about it. Okay, so on to tomorrow's NHL schedule. And it goes like this. The Coyotes will take on the Sabres at 7. Other 7 o'clock games are the Canadiens versus the Red Wings. The Islanders take on the Rangers. The Flames take on the Devils. Canucks take on the Senators. The Blues take on the Phillies, Flyers. The Knights take on the Leafs. 7:30. Oilers take on the Lightning. That's a TNT game. The Stars take on the Jets at 8. The Predators take on the Kraken at 10. And the Wild take on the Kings at 10:30. So now we'll go to the standings, and they go this way. And they go like this. Your standings, in the Atlantic, the Bruins are 11-2-0 at 22 points. The Red Wings are 7-3-2, 16 points. The Leafs 7-4-2, 16 points. The Lightning 7-4-1, 15 points. Panthers 15 points at 7-5-1. Sabres 12-7-5, 14 points. Montreal 5-6-1, 11 points. And the Senators 11-4 4-7-0, 8 points. Well, looky here. Oh boy, my Diane's gonna love this. In the Metro Division, the Devils are in first, 9-3-0, 18 points. The Hurricanes, 8-3-1, 17 points. Islanders, 8-5-0, 16 points. The Rangers, 15 points at 6-4-3. Flyers, 6-3-2, 14 points. The Capitals, 6-6-2, 14 points. Sorry, Steve. The Pens, 4-6-2, 10 points. And the Blue Jackets, 6 points at 3-9-0. Over in the West, the Stars lead the Central at 8-3-1, 17 points. The Jets, not the New York Jets, but the Winnipeg Jets, 7-3-1, 15 points. Avalanche, 6-4-1, 13 points. The Blackhawks, 5-5-2, 12 points. Respectable. The Wild, 5-5-1, 11 points. Predators, 5-6-1, 11 points. Coyotes, 4-6-1, 9 points. Decent for them. And the Blues are feeling blue right now at 3-7-0 with 6 points. Golden Knights, 11-2-0, lead the Pacific, 11-2-0, 22 points. The Kraken, 7-4-2, 16 points, in only their second year. Wow. Kings, 7-6-1, 15 points. Oilers, 14 points at 7-6-0. Flames, 5-4-2, 12 points. Canucks, 3-6-3, 9 points. Ducks, 4-8-1, 9 points. And the Sharks, 9 points at 3-8-3. Gotta give it to the Kraken, though. Only their second year and they're doing quite well. I don't know about you, but I was not expecting the Kraken to do that well this season. I thought they were still going to fall flat in their face and not do much of anything this year. But what do I know? All right, so now we'll go to the schedule for Wednesday because there's no games tomorrow in the NBA. I do understand their reasoning. So it goes like this. So for Wednesday, the Blazers will take on the Hornets at 7. The Nuggets take on the Pacers at 7. The Mavericks take on the Magic. 7:30, Jazz take on the Hawks. Your Pistons take on the Celtics. The Knicks take on the Nets at 7:30. Ooh, local battle. I like it. And the Rockets take on the Raptors. 8 o'clock, Pelicans take on the Bulls. Suns take on... I'm sorry. The Suns take on the Bulls. The Suns take on the Wolves. The Bucks take on the Thunder. And the Grizzlies take on the Spurs. 10 o'clock, Lakers take on the Clippers. And the Cavaliers take on the Kings. Yeah, interesting. All right. We'll go over to the standings now. Some might be finding a little bit surprising on some of the standings here. But I'll let you guys be the judge of that. And the standings go this way. The Bucks lead the... Oh, they finally lost a game. They're 9-1. They were 8-0. Cavaliers are 8-1, just a half game back. Hawks are 7-3, 2 back. Celtics 2.5 back at 6-3. Raptors 6-4, 3 back. The Wizards are 5-6, 4.5 back. Also 4.5 back are the Wizards, Sixers, and Bulls. And the Knicks are 4-5, also 4.5 back. Nets 4-6, 5 back. The Heat 4-7, 5.5 back. The Hornets 3-8, 6.5 back. Your Pistons 3-8, 6.5 back, and the Magic 2-9, 7.5 back. Sorry. To the West, the Jazz are 8-3, have a half game lead over the Suns, Grizzlies, and Blazers, all at 7-3. At 6-3 are the Nuggets, 1 game back. A game and a half back are the Mavericks at 5-3. Another logjam here from 7-10 as the Pelicans, Clippers, Spurs, and Wolves are 5.5 back are 5-5 at 2.5 back. The Thunder are 4-6 at 3.5 back. The Kings are 3.5 back at 3-5. Warriors 4.5 back at 3-7. Wow. Lakers 2-7 at 5 back, and the Rockets still grounded 2-9, 6 back. I don't know about you, but there's something wrong with the Rockets. I mean, last season was bad enough, but this season seems to be even worse. I just can't imagine what's wrong with the Lakers. All right, so we'll check with the scores here for the NFL. Right now it's now 27-13 with the Ravens leading the Saints. 2:21 to go. I don't think it's going to be enough for them to come back. I doubt that pretty much. Unless you get a few onside kicks going. Okay, so it goes this way. Over the past week, the Eagles are still undefeated as they beat the Texans 29-17. Yesterday, the Chargers beat the Falcons 20-17. The Dolphins beat the Bears 35-32. My brother is pissed off. The Bengals over the Panthers 42-21. The Lions upset the Packers 15-9. Patriots over the Colts 26-3. Jets over the Bills 20-17. I like it. Vikings over the Commanders 20-17. Don't wonder why they're for sale. Jaguars over the Raiders 27-20. The Seahawks over the Cardinals 31-21. The Bucks over the Rams 16-13. And the Chiefs over the Titans 20-17. Let's check the standings here, as now it's getting very interesting. As, of course, we now reach the second half of the season. And they go like this. Buffalo still has the lead at 6-2-0, but the Jets only have only a half game back at 6-3-0. Also tied with the Dolphins at 6-3-0, and the Patriots are bouncing back nicely at 5-4-0. Yuck. To the south, Ravens 5-3-0. Could depending outcome of this game, of course. Bengals 5-4-0. The Browns 3-5-0, and the Steelers 2-6-0. I am not surprised how poor they're doing this year. To the south, Titans are 5-3-0, Colts 3-5-1, Jaguars 3-6-0, and the Texans 1-6-1 in this crappy division. The West, the Chiefs 6-2-0 after last night's win. The Chargers 5-3-0. The Broncos 3-5-0, and the Raiders 2-6-0. To the National Conference, Eagles are still undefeated 8-0, sickening. Cowboys and Giants are tied at 6-2. This is going to be very interesting if they win next week, heading that Thanksgiving matchup. And the Commanders are 4-5-0. To the North, Vikings 7-1-0, Packers 3-6-0, along with the Bears 3-6-0, and the Lions are 2-6-0.
2-6-0, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
At least their defense played great.
I didn't know if you wanted me to say that out loud or not. So
no, please do.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to embarrass anybody. Over to the pathetic division of the NFC South, and this is pathetic. The Bucks and the Falcons are leading at 4-5-0. Oh boy. The Saints, or some call them the Aints, are 3-5-0, and the Panthers 2-7-0. Weak. Over to the West, the Seahawks 6-3-0, Niners 4-4-0, the Rams 3-5-0, probably having a Super Bowl hangover, and the Cardinals 3-6-0. So when I look at next week's schedule, heading into the week before Thanksgiving. All right, so we'll start off, of course, with the Thursday matchup. As we're going to week 10 of the season now. All right. So Thursday we lead off with the Falcons versus the Cardinals. Your Sunday games are the Seahawks taking the 1 o'clock games are the Seahawks versus the Bucks. That's a 9:30 game in Germany. 1 o'clock games are the Vikings versus the Bills, your Lions taking on the Bears, the Broncos taking on the Titans, the Jaguars taking on the Chiefs, the Browns taking on the Dolphins, the Texans taking on the Giants, the Saints taking on the Steelers. 405 games, the Colts take on the Raiders, the Cowboys take on the Packers at 425. Cardinals take on the Rams at 425. The Chargers take on the 49ers at 820. And the Commanders take on the Eagles in the Monday night game at 8:15 on Monday night. The Bengals, Patriots, Jets, and the Ravens all have the bye week. So if anybody's going to ask me, hey, where are the Jets this week? Sorry, they got the week off. Because some people, are wondering, because a lot of people don't keep track of the bye weeks with that, so it gets a little bit confusing. Yeah, but I think the Jets have been the surprise team of the year. Okay, Phillies pitcher Zach Wheeler was surprised when he was pulled in the sixth inning in their loss to the Astros. Wheeler sat calm off guard as the Astros clinched the title in a winner-go-home situation. That was a bitter pill to swallow. It was manager Bob Thompson's call that he made. The Phillies were leading 1-0 at the time, but the Astros had runners on first and third with one out, and Jeremy Pena bounced a single up the middle. Much to my dismay. And it was the decision to have him pulled out. He didn't have that many pitches, though. It was only about 70 pitches, and they still took him out, which I don't think was right, because I think if you're doing well, with that, I think you should have kept them in. And I think if they did, maybe they would have won that when it went to a Game 7.
We got a final here in New Orleans.
It is now official. Ravens over the Saints 27-13. So that takes care of them.
Ravens improved to 6-3, and the Saints fall to 3-6.
Disgusting.
The Ravens are just better. That's it.
Yeah, they seem to be. Although last year they weren't that great. So anyway, Wheeler had his best outing with only 70 pitches thrown, and his final two pitches were at 96 and 97 miles per hour. But it was Thompson's decision to replace Wheeler with Jose Cardo, who gave up the crushing 3-run homer to Yonder Alvarez, and the Astros never gave the lead back, and crushing the Phillies' hopes to win their first World Series since 2008. Oh, so much for that. Yeah. So the Astros won their second World Series title, finishing a 6-year stretch that saw no fewer than 7 wins away from a title in each season. So how will this title change legacy? What will change, if anything, from fans outside the Houston area? Those questions were asked surrounding the team as they celebrated in the locker room as Saturday turned to Sunday morning. Now, of course, I know it's been 5 years, but the tainted season was still fresh in people's minds. And of course, there's all kinds of rumors going with who's going to be back, who won't be back, free agency, and all that. Of course, that happens every year, especially with winning teams. But that's how it goes in this day and age. Question is now, will they be able to repeat? Ryan Presley says, we don't really care what anyone says. We won, plain and simple. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Framber Valdez provided another solid outing with 6 innings and a 1-run ball, and Yonder Alvarez gave it the final blow with a 3-run shot in the 6th, avenging from last year's loss to the Braves. And Dusty Baker got his first win as a manager. Baker has spent 3 decades chasing a title, though he has won a title as a player, as an outfielder for the Dodgers in the '81 season that beat my Yankees. Yeah. He took 12 teams to the postseason and claimed 2,093 regular season wins before winning his first title as a manager. As the old saying goes, the best thing comes to those who wait. Well, it's true. Alvarez, oh, the Phillies stormed back. It was a very interesting series. The Phillies were the toughest opponents as they took Game One from the Astros, despite trailing 5-0 early, and split the first two games in Houston, thanks to a strong performance by Valdez in Game 2. The Phillies stormed back in Game 3 with a 7-0 shutout, but after that, the Astros showed why they were the best this season with a no-hitter in Game 4 and a diving catch by Chas McCormick in Game 5. Oh, yeah. Alvarez's three-homer was the sixth, was a crushing blow that gave the Astros the championship. But that might have been one of the best World Series I think I've seen in a long time. And the Astros, and Georgia reclaims number 1, and Tennessee falls to number 5 in the college football rankings, as Tennessee didn't know what they were doing, and Georgia just took control in the game on Saturday afternoon. There's no way Bama's going to compete this year for the title. Not this year.
They're down to 10th. Wow. Michigan rose to number 3.
Wow. Very good.
Yeah. It's still undefeated.
Yeah.
Jason Finch wanted to comment. I'm happy the Astros won the World Series.
By the way, I don't know if I got your thoughts or did I, about the melee that happened in the tunnel a week and a half ago.
Oh yeah. That 10-on-1 beatdown. Yeah. Legal charges may be may have been filed, but I have only 8 players have been suspended until further notice, until the investigation is complete. I just haven't heard a word since 2 Saturdays ago.
Because I heard that there were 4 other players that were taken for discipline after that. 4 additional players.
There were 4, and then there were 4, and then there were 4 more.
Right, that's what I meant by the 4. Right, okay, that's what I meant with the 4 additional players. Added to the 4 before that.
Yep.
Yeah. Boy, I mean, it's one thing when your rival's on the field, but I mean, I think it was taking a little bit too far off the field.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a school rivalry, but I think it's just a little more common decency off the field without trying to beat the other team up.
McBurrows was the guy that got attacked and ambushed. He didn't even do anything. He was just walking. He was just walking down the tunnel past Spartan players.
And then all hell broke loose. Yeah.
But
the Yankees and Red Sox will even act that way. I mean, they can't see each other, but they don't attack each other after the game, or the Mets and the Phillies and whatnot, or even Rutgers against their rivals. So it's just amazing how these two just can't seem to get along either on or off the field. Kind of disturbing if you ask me. All right, well, now wrap it for me, so now I'll just turn it back over to you.
All right, so that ends True Sports episode 23. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Louis Tenor. We'll talk again sometime on episode 24.
Until then, good night, folks.
Oh, follow my other show, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, on Twitter and Instagram at Michigan_Truth. Like its Facebook page and subscribe to its YouTube channel at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. True Sports is a presentation and production of Phillips Media. Ta-ta, hit on 9.